Aloha, thanks so much for tuning in. This is Spotlight Hawaii. I'm Ryan Kalesuji, joined by Yanji Denise. Today, of course, is Thanksgiving Eve. For many people, getting ready the day before Thanksgiving, of course. But today we continue on with our show, talking about and spotlighting some of the issues impacting Hawaii. And one of those issues, Yanji, continues to be unemployment, and many people continue to be out of work. And we're going to be speaking to someone that can hopefully answer some of the questions out there by our viewers.
Yeah, Hawaii has the dubious distinction of having the highest unemployment rate in the country. Over 14% of people are unemployed in Hawaii. Chances are you are unemployed or you know someone who is. This has affected so many people across the state, and a lot of those folks are relying on the government help, unemployment benefits, and a lot of folks have been really frustrated with the process. We have been so lucky to have Anne Perreira-Eustaquio on with us multiple times. She's joining us again today to walk us through what the benefits are, what some of the challenges are, and really try to be a resource here to help you as you navigate this. Perhaps you were recently laid off and you're facing this for the first time, or you've been, waiting on benefits and you have some frustration. So we want to go through all of that. So Anne, good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. As we said, that we do have some pretty tough numbers. What is the latest in terms of getting benefits out to people? How many folks are still sort of in that queue waiting to have their case looked at?
So good morning. Thank you for having me. We have taken in thousands of claims. I kind of want to give you a rundown of the numbers of claims that we've actually taken in since March 1st. On regular unemployment, we've actually taken in 292,000 applications for unemployment insurance. For PEUC and EB, 82,000 so far applications since the program was launched. And for PUA, 146,000 applications. So we've taken in quite a bit of applications here at the Unemployment Insurance Division for unemployment payouts or benefits. We are still working through what we call the adjudication issues. We have paid out 97% of our claims. But I have to tell you that on a daily basis, when we have claimants filing claims, we have individuals who create what we call an issue that will keep a claim from being paid. And that could be anywhere from they went on a trip, or they denied work for some reason or another, or they have childcare issues that they have to take care of. And so they have to stay home with their children who are distance learning.
We want to talk a little bit about those adjudicators, because the last time we spoke, you had actually brought on a bunch of them to kind of help with that backlog. Where do you stand on that now? Have they continued to come on board? Are they, helping people out? And how long will they continue to stay on board, knowing that CARES Act money will run out at the end of the year?
Right. So we have 100 adjudicators who have come on board through our contractor Maximus. They are tackling not the separation issues that are really the harder and much more difficult issues to adjudicate because of the statutes, but they're tackling all the ones that I just talked about, the did not accept, the ills, those who went on trips, those who moved. They're tackling those issues, the child care, so that we can clean up those issues so that individuals can either continue on the unemployment insurance path and hopefully file for a PEUC, or move them to PUA so that they can start being paid their unemployment insurance benefits through the PUA program.
We're seeing a couple of questions here this morning about PEUC. Let's first, if you could explain what PEUC is. We know that people have to wait for PEUC, and so there are two questions here about the waiting game. Marianne Say says, I've been waiting for my PEUC. If my claim is not liquidated, I think she means adjudicated, by December, will the CARES money be returned, and will we not be able to get our money? I've been waiting since October.
Okay. So the CARES Act money, when it comes to the programs, so the PEUC program, as well as the PUA program, those funds will not expire at the end of the year, like other CARES Act funding that was given to different states. The program ends. So the program ends on December 26th, and no claims can be filed under those two programs after December 26th for weeks after December 26th. But any weeks prior to December 26th that have not been paid out can still be paid out once a determination is made on that claim.
You know,
So
let's sort of, sorry, go ahead, continue.
I'm sorry, I wanted to explain PEUC a little bit. What
Sure.
PEUC is 13 additional weeks of benefits over and beyond your 26 weeks of regular unemployment insurance. PEUC was a program spun up specifically for the pandemic and will end on December 26. Those 13 additional weeks, you have to qualify for those weeks. The reason why it's so slow going is the front end is all automated. But it's a brand new program. So we had to program this program onto our antiquated mainframe. So the back end is all manual. So staff actually has to take each and every claim and review it, process it, and push it through. The problem we're seeing is a lot of claimants, and maybe not for their fault, have unreported earnings. So an employer went ahead and reported earnings for that claimant. Whether it should have been reported or not is another question. You know, some earnings are not reportable because they're not considered wages. But also we have individuals who were given vacation pay and they didn't realize that that was reportable. So if those earnings are not reportable and you're paid for the week that you received that earning, you could be overpaid for that week. If you're overpaid for that week and it was in the period of your regular unemployment insurance benefits, that means you didn't exhaust your regular claim yet. And that's why we can't move you to PEUC until the overpayment is addressed.
You know, we kind of also want to step back because we know that there are a bunch of different programs, of course, that were formulated and kind of put up and stood up in response to the pandemic. And some of those will be expiring, as you said, at the end of the year. If you can sort of talk us through the differences. I know you kind of just went over that one there, but if you can kind of go through and take us through step by step what those different programs are. And we also have a graphic that will help to illustrate some of that.
Okay, so we have our regular unemployment insurance program, which is 26 weeks, and that program continues to provide benefits to claimants until they exhaust their 26 weeks. The next program is the PEUC, which is the additional 13 weeks of benefits. You only can receive that once you exhaust your benefits from regular unemployment of 26 weeks. The next extension is the extended benefits EB, and we're calling that EB20. EB20 is an additional 13 weeks of benefits that claimants can apply for after they exhaust PEUC. EB has a couple of extra eligibility requirements that an individual needs to qualify in order to obtain benefits. One of the qualifications, which a lot of claimants don't understand, is that EB was spun up in May, or we triggered on EB in May of 2020. So if what we call your parent claim, which is your regular unemployment insurance claim, if your benefit year ends before May 23rd of 2020, you are not eligible for EB. And so EB would not be something that an individual could get benefits from. But if they qualify for one of the 10 COVID-related reasons, then they could then apply for PUA. PUA is the next program that was spun up. PUA is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, normally for those who are self-employed and those who had earnings as an employee but did not have enough earnings to qualify or were denied benefits due to one of the COVID-related reasons, such as cut childcare or that they had to stay home and take care of a sick family member. And so that's what PUA does. PUA and PEUC both end on December 26. So no weeks can be applied for after December 26, but we'll continue to pay weeks prior to December 26 after the new year. EB does not trigger off until Hawaii goes below 5% of unemployment insurance. And we know we're very far from that right now.
Okay, that is a lot of programs, and as soon as this broadcast is over, you guys can go back and look at that graphic and replay that answer, because that was a pretty extensive one. Christine Donnelly, who actually writes the Kokua line for the paper, has a question, and it ties into what you were saying about PEUC. She says, can you ask how long it's taking people to be approved and actually receive PEUC, and ask about the CARES expiration coming at the end of the year, how that's going to affect Hawaii claimants? I'd imagine that that's going to impact the workforce that we have have, but also individual claims as well. Can you address both of Christine's questions?
Right. So the first question in regards to the PEUC, like I said a little earlier, it is a little slow going. We have picked up the pace. We've tried to streamline those processes and cut out what we could from, that didn't affect the federal regulations that we're required to meet. And so we are now processing PEU's claims in October. If you have a claim that has not been processed and it was prior to October, that means you possibly have an overpayment on your claim or an unreported earning issue that needs to be looked at and addressed by a claims examiner, the same claims examiners or adjudicators that are looking at the other adjudicated issues. So we have prioritized that. We have created a little section to handle those overpayments and hopefully get those processed sooner. The question about the CARES Act funding, the CARES Act funding that has helped us with the call center as well as the adjudication center, that funding will expire at the end of the year. So we will no longer be able to continue to bring on the contractor after the end of the year. We have also been told by U.S. Department of Labor that we will no longer also be allowed to waive the rights of merit staffers. So we have individuals who perform services here at Department of Labor that are considered merit staff employees. So meaning they're connected to the government and they work for us. And the federal government has waived that requirement. And that's why we were able to go out and get a contractor in the first place. At the end of the year, it looks like the U.S. Department of Labor is going to no longer waive that requirement and will require us to make sure that merit staff employees are performing the services of an adjudicator.
Ryan, I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. What would that look like for your department, knowing that you're losing a bunch of these critical components to the services that you provide through the adjudicators, to the call center, through these other individuals that are helping you out? How are you planning to move forward into the new year, knowing that you're going to be losing a lot of that help that's really helping you to get through this backlog?
Actually, we need those individuals or some individuals to help us with this process. We know we're still going to have adjudication issues as well as individuals still rolling on to PEUC after the new year. And so we're looking at how we can utilize individuals who have been trained in this area to help us after the new year.
Joe has a question. Joe Kent at 1037. How far in debt is the unemployment fund, and will debt rise in 2021? I know that you had given us some figures the last time you were on here that were pretty astronomical. How is it looking right now?
So as of last week, we have borrowed $695 billion from U.S. Department of Labor.
Wait, billion or million?
I'm sorry, million.
Okay.
Million. Yeah, not
I'm
billion.
Thinking, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So
695 million. We expect to borrow 1 to 1.2 billion by the end of December. And we know it's not going to stop there. We're going to continue to borrow after the new year. We have to make sure that we take steps or measures to make payments to USDOL for those loans that we have made. And we are also going to be required to, after the new year, pay interest on those loans. Employers are the ones saddled with this requirement to bring the trust fund back up to solvency. And so we are looking at ways to help mitigate the impact on employers by maybe decreasing the tax schedule so that we can continue to stimulate the economy and they can bring in the workers that we desperately need out there.
I want to bring in a question about the call center. We have a question from Les who says, how long does it take for people to get a call from an examiner? And he followed up with a question saying, do they call after business hours? He missed a call near 7 p.m. If you can speak a little bit about the overall call center. We know that there are some people who are saying that they're still having some issues getting through. What is the status of the call center, and at what time do these examiners normally call?
Right. So I see that he missed a call at 6:56 p.m. So that would not be from the call center. We actually have in-house employees working 7 days a week. Some of them work from 5:30 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. And so we have individuals calling throughout the day late at night. We have individuals who are still at the convention center who are consistently calling out, trying to get in touch with claimants. I have to say that is our biggest problem is we cannot contact the claimants. We try all day long to contact claimants, and either it doesn't answer, they don't answer, or they just don't want to pick up, or they're busy. But we ask that please pick up your calls, because we are calling at all times of the day, all times of the night. So yes, it is us. The call center, if you're getting a call from anyone, it's not the call center. The call center is normally taking in calls. We do make some outbound calls through the call center, but it's only during the day till 4:30 is the latest you would get a call from the call center. And so it would probably be our in-house staff who's really trying to clean up your claim and get some of those issues completed.
You know, there have been calls for you folks to open something in person, and I know that that's a really tough thing to do. Has there been any thought to opening some kind of an in-person center where you could make an appointment and come down and meet with someone face-to-face? Because so many people are so frustrated missing a call or calling the call center or sending emails and just not getting a response.
Yes, so we talk about that almost daily, how we can deal with that and, service the customers in the best way we can. Right now, opening up our doors to everyone would be too much of an issue that I think we would not be able to handle. The flow of individuals, the crowd control would be extremely difficult for the local offices. I think we would get less work done than we do with the calls with the offices closed. We are looking at other ways to bring in individuals, like you just said, through an appointment system. But I have to let you know that the experts, the ones who really know how to manage unemployment insurance claims and make decisions on those claims, are few. We started off with 107 employees statewide when this pandemic hit. Those are the individuals who know their stuff. They know what to do with a claim, and they'll be able to clean up that claim as quickly as possible. All the other individuals we brought in and trained since then, they're doing what they can with the training that we've given them to understand the difficult and complex regulations that the feds have that we have to follow. And so if we took our frontline staff who know their stuff and put them on a onesie twosie with individuals, we would be helping the few and not the many. And my goal is to help the many. We need to help as many claimants out there as we possibly can. So we're looking at all different types of options to service the customers as best as we can.
I want to ask a question about PEUC, because we know that, again, as you mentioned earlier, that was something that was started and set up because of the pandemic and as a result of that, but that will end at the end of the year. Moving forward, as we go into 2021, knowing that there could be some other setbacks with rising case numbers on the mainland and the holiday season, and us seeing the effects into 2021, for those who have qualified for PEUC in the past, with that coming to an end, do you foresee anything being of assistance for those individuals who relied on PEUC this year going into next year, knowing that they won't necessarily qualify for some of the other unemployment benefits?
Right. Ryan, I see nothing. We contact the congressional delegation on a consistent basis. We've written letters to Congress. We are in a group called NASWA, who looks out for the best interests of the unemployment and labor relations areas. And we've asked for them to continue the programs that we have in existence right now because they're highly needed. We've asked for many different things. We've asked to forgo the loan, the $695 million loan that we've taken out, but we haven't had no word yet. So we're just waiting to see what may happen after the new year.
What are the biggest sort of most common mistakes that you're seeing right now as people are going through this process? Just because we see so many people who are writing here that they're waiting and that they're frustrated. Presumably some of the hiccups have been triggered by, innocuous mistakes that they've made on their claims. And that's holding up the benefits. So what are some things that you can tell people that they really need to pay attention to when they're filing?
Yeah, so answering those weekly claim certification questions is very important. Many individuals will mistakenly say that they weren't available for work when they really were. Some will mistakenly mark that they're ill. So just being really careful about answering those questions on a weekly basis. I think we can clean those up as long as those are some of the things that we're trying to clean up by calling them and just saying, hey, it looks like you may have marked this incorrectly. And, we're trying to clean it up that quickly. We're not asking for them to send in anything that, a letter saying I marked the wrong box. It should have been another, answer. We're really trying to do our best to clean it up as quickly as possible. But those are the most that we see.
This is a pretty specific question that we have, but one that has come in the past from Emmy, asking specifically about substitute teachers. We know that, of course, they are a vital part of the education system, but many of them not necessarily seeing as much work because of the fact that many teachers are working from home and remotely. Can you speak to what substitute teachers are allowed to qualify for and how they might be able to get some assistance from the department?
Right. So there is a statute that says that the department cannot use wages from educational institutions to pay unemployment insurance benefits. So the way it works is if you are a substitute teacher and you are assured, you have a reasonable assurance for work for the next session, then you're not eligible for unemployment insurance because you're not truly unemployed. That's your customary work. You normally have these breaks and then you're assured work the next term. If you truly are unemployed and you are a substitute teacher, you are eligible for unemployment insurance benefits just like any other individual would be. And so what happens is during those terms, when there's one term ends and the other begins, Department of Education has to supply the department with information to let us know whether this specific substitute teacher has a reasonable assurance for work for the next term or not. And that's the information we're waiting for. And so to be much more proactive, we wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence on our end. Substitute teachers last week had received an email from the department with a questionnaire or a survey to get back to us that asked them just those questions. If they were assured reasonable work for the next session. And then we sent all of those responses to DOE just to say, yes or no, just give us an answer because we want to move on. We want to get these individuals paid. And so that's what we've done to try and speed up that process.
Mike K. Aloha May has a question that I think that is making a lot of people anxious. This is at 10:50, Ryan. When PUA ends on December 26th, if our claims aren't processed by then, what happens to our claims? In other words, are people going to be made whole? Let's say if this isn't adjudicated until 2021, let's say, and also sort of piggybacking on that question, how far into 2021 can you file claims for 2020?
Okay, so if you have a claim already filed in PUA, and it's being held up because of some type of adjudication, an ID issue, or a COVID eligibility issue, those claims can be worked on, cleaned up, and paid. There's no time frame for those claims to be paid because you have an existing established PUA claim. We're still looking into the statutes of those who don't have a PUA claim by the end of the year, and if we can still establish those claims and make sure that those payments are paid out.
So I want to also go back to the question about you had mentioned talking about having the setup at the convention center and people still working there and helping. Can you confirm that also will come to an end? Are you planning to shut that operation down at the end of the year?
Yes, so we have been funded with CARES Act funding to pay for the use of the convention center. And so that funding also ends at the end of the year. So we are working on a transition plan to get those individuals who are actually performing services there at the convention center, moving them back to our offices and establishing some work centers here for them.
A lot of people, just like the questions piling up, just a lot of people really frustrated right now and feeling like they have no control. What do you advise to folks? What do they need to do right now as they wait for a call or is it wise to continue to email? Should they continue to call the call center? What are you telling people to do as they are in limbo right now?
Right. I can give you some statistics on the call center, how many calls we get a day, how many are actually serviced, and what we're looking at the drop rate is. So on a daily basis, we get an average about 3,800 calls a day from claimants. We answer about 3,000 of those calls. So that's a 77% average call ratio of picking up. Not just picking up, about 500 calls a day are made to claimants from that call center between the time they're open till 4:30 to address those calls that got dropped. So if you're an individual whose call got dropped because we couldn't get back to you that day, or we didn't have the time frame came to an end, we do call back individuals from the call center. So there's a total of about 3,000 calls that we either take or call back on a daily basis. So continue to call that call center. I know sometimes it's tough to get in, but 77% of the individuals are getting through. We still have 200 agents who are trying to help us get through those calls. And I think they're your best bet. So what they're doing is, if they cannot fix a problem, and I can tell you, they're not going to be able to fix every problem. You know, they're brand new. They just started to learn. They don't understand the statutes as well as our long-term employees. What they're doing is they're creating these smart sheets. And on these smart sheets, they're actually telling individuals that they're going to escalate their claim. And they put it on this smart sheet, and the smart sheet comes to the unemployment insurance office then to address those issues that the call center could not address.
You know, I also want to just ask, as we sort of wrap things up here, we know that we are still getting a lot of questions in, and we try to get to as many as we can on a broad level, because some of these are so specific. But aside from just, of course, unemployment, which continues to be a major issue here, you are the director of the Labor Department.
Labor Department.
Yeah, you're not necessarily just unemployment.
No.
And looking towards, you know, the labor force in Hawaii moving forward into 2021, recognizing that there are a lot of businesses that are shutting down, the unemployment rate continues to remain high. What is sort of your outlook in terms of what the future looks like for just the labor force in Hawaii, and overall how we sort of can begin to look at how we rebound out of this going into the new year?
Right. We know that the labor force has been majorly impacted from this pandemic, especially because we are heavy on tourism. We are looking at avenues to take to maybe retrain individuals to get into professions that take them outside of the tourism spectrum. But of course, that's still our main industry, and we're going to focus on that area as well. We know that healthcare is a prime employment area that we would like to look at more closely, maybe train individuals in getting in the healthcare arena so that we can continue to take care of the individuals here in Hawaii and also provide individuals jobs that really matter and can make a difference here in Hawaii. So we have the Workforce Development Division here at Department of Labor, as well as the Workforce Development Council, who work hand in hand to help determine, you know, how we can move forward with providing individuals with avenues to look for new jobs, where we can send them to get training for new jobs, and to continue to bolster the workforce here in Hawaii.
I want to bring in one quick thing from Erwin, which is something I hadn't really considered. And she says, please tell her to give us the ability to make appointments online through video calls, via Zoom, etc. That would be a big help. Tell her, please. You know, short of actually meeting in person, somehow, you know, when you get to talk face to face, even if it is through this medium, it somehow feels like you're able to express yourself more clearly. A lot of people just need to have that visual back and forth. Of course, not every claimant will have access to video technology, but it is pretty widespread. Are there any thoughts to doing those kinds of appointments so that you don't have to necessarily go in person, but you are face to face with an adjudicator?
So we have thought about that as well, and how we would mitigate that and how would make that work. You know, a lot of times it seems very simple to have this discussion like this through Zoom, but not everyone has the capabilities, and sometimes the technology just does not work. But we are looking into that for sure. That is one avenue we're looking at, because it's always nice to see someone that you're actually discussing a topic with.
You know, as we sort of wrap up, we want to allow you just to have one final message, maybe to those who continue to wait for their claims. Any final thoughts or any final words that you would have for those who are, you know, still sort of frustrated and just sort of in this waiting period?
Yeah, I know it's the holidays. I know this time of year is difficult in normal times. It's even much more difficult now with how everyone's been impacted. We are working more hours than you would believe, trying to get every single claim cleaned up. We feel for every single one out there. We know this is a hard time of the year. You all are hurting. You all need your benefits, and we're trying to get to them as quickly as possible. We are putting in more hours than we did before, if that's even possible. We're trying to clean up as many claims as we can. I just want to say that so many people have reached out to me personally, and the people of Hawaii are just incredible. You know, they're all hurting. They're all going through this, but they're just so. They really have the aloha spirit. You know, so many of them have thanked us for all that we're doing, even though they're still waiting, even though they're still hurting, even though they need answers. They've thanked us. They're letting us know that they're out there and supporting us, and they're wishing us good wishes. So I just want to thank everyone, because I know it's hard, but I just want to let you know that we're going to do what we need to do to get this done.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Anne. And of course, we've invited Anne back next month to give us another update. We do appreciate your time. As Ryan said, we know that you're in charge of so much, not just unemployment, but the whole department. And we really, really do appreciate you diving into the details with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Aloha.
Wow, Ryan. Well, we see all of your questions, and we recognize that so many of you are frustrated. It is a very, very difficult circumstance, and you do hear from her, you know, a lot of empathy in her voice, and she is very, very working very hard and really trying. But she's up against a lot. When you hear those numbers, it's just pretty astounding. Over $600 million in debt the fund already has gone into, and they're anticipating hitting $1.2 billion by the end of this year. And who knows where that goes in 2021.
Yeah, and I think the more concerning factor is they are already having issues with all this help, and knowing that at the end of the year, this CARES Act money will run out. They're going to have to shut down their operation at the convention center. They're going to lose the adjudicators and those at the call center who have already really helped to sort of navigate through the backlog here. And there continues to be many people, as we see, that are waiting, and all of that will come to an end. It's concerning that they will lose a lot of the support going into next year, knowing that there still will be a lot of work to be done with this department. Again, this is a department that is now entering a second director, Anne Perreira-Eustaquio, coming on midway through the pandemic to sort of lead this department. And so this is a department that continues and will continue to need help moving forward.
Yeah, and a lot of eyes, of course, on Washington to see what CARES Act 2 looks like. But remember that, you know, if and when that money does come down the pike, we don't know what kind of strings are going to be attached to it, and we don't know how big or small the packages will be. Also, as you mentioned, when they dismantle the call center, when they dismantle all those adjudicators and that whole setup, it's not something where you can just flip a switch and you get right back up and running. You've got to get all those people back. They may have moved on. So, you know, that lack of continuity from year to year will be very tough, even if Congress does get its act together and distribute some funds, hopefully sometime in January.
You know, we're seeing a lot of questions about the different programs, when things expire, how long people have to make claims. We encourage you to kind of head back to the beginning of this conversation because she did a really nice job of breaking down each of the various programs that the UI office currently has out there for those that have qualified, the ones that have been set up because of this pandemic. So I encourage you to go back and listen to that, because she does paint a clear picture and outlook on some of those expiration dates and what people can do continuing moving forward as we head into the new year.
Yeah, and of course, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We wish you a very safe and happy as can be holiday. And then on Black Friday, do people do Black Friday anymore? What is traditionally Black Friday? Josh Green is going to be joining us. Of course, he does head up the Safe Travels program and help to roll that out for the state. But there is some conflict right now we're seeing with the mayor of Kauai, and that mayor wanting to opt out of the program because he says that, you know, it's just not working for his island. So we will definitely be talking to the lieutenant governor about that. A lot of questions about the vaccine rollout. We always look forward to an update on that. So lots to talk about with Josh Green, and then Derek Kawakami will be joining us soon as well.
That's right. So we encourage all of you to come back here on Friday at 10:30 for another edition of Spotlight Hawaii. We thank all of you for your comments. We know that there are many out there. We try to get to as much as we can, but we certainly appreciate you being involved in this conversation. And really, it is a conversation for you to hope to get you as much information to help you through this time. Until Friday, please take care, and we'll see you then. Aloha.
Aloha.